So they did their little initial test, and that was uncomfortable because I was awake. And
they didn't put you to sleep.
Not for the colonoscopy they did, but their initial test when they first look at you to see, what's going on? They just
back there.
Look at this big.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dads on Purpose, the podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ashford, man, and as always, got the big homie KB, Mr. Kevin Brigance. How you doing, bro?
What's up, baby? No, I'm just playing.
He's sitting there for y'all on podcast land. You couldn't see that Kev was counting with his fingers how long he was going to hold that one. Yeah, we're not gonna make that a habit.
No, we're not. We're not gonna do that.
Yo, we got Jay Cee, man, hashtag Dad Swag podcast. I was gonna say Dad Swag podcast, but it's hashtag Dad Swag podcast. How you doing, bro? Raiders fan. So if y'all don't like the Raiders, you can go, somewhere else because it's Raider Nation over here, except for Kev.
Feel me?
Yeah.
Kev probably like the Houston Oilers.
Yes. Guaranteed, 100% Houston Oilers fan. But, we're transitioning over to our Baltimore Ravens. I got my boy Tylan Wallace. He just signed his deal.
What you transitioning?
Well, I follow people. And so,
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
But, I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody else. So, let's see.
You got the Raiders.
Nah.
Yep.
I mean, you could be a Cowboys fan.
Marshawn Lynch ain't playing anymore.
Anyways, Jay Cee, how you doing, bro?
Man, I'm good, fellas. Going down. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, man! I got to deal with this one over here. He over here rubbing his hands, so he about to be some trouble today. We recording this in the middle of the day, so I'm not tired. But that also means I got this good old Texas heat right on my face, and so I'm hot. That's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to complain for a second.
Hot.
Yeah.
I'm hot, daddy.
Hot. Man, it's so hot. It just rained out of the middle of nowhere lately.
I mean, if you don't like nothing about Cali, we do got, some of the best weather. Like, it don't matter. So,
I mean, yeah, some of the best weather, but then you got to live in Cali.
Bro,
you couldn't pay. Here's the thing. You could not, there's no amount of money you could pay me to move back to LA or California at all. I mean, I love it, but I don't. It's too many people.
And I have family there, San Francisco Bay Area, but I just didn't understand. I just didn't understand the earthquakes. Like, why do I want to live somewhere that's going to constantly have earthquakes?
Well, I mean, we talking about earthquakes, but we talking about people's rent. You know what I mean? You got a 750 square foot studio apartment for $3,500. You know what I mean? Like,
not nice.
I'm sorry. Yo, but listen, though, real talk. Real talk, though. The homie Max Maxwell, he put out a video. I don't know if you know who Max Maxwell is, but he's really big in real estate, wholesale, and things like that. But he put out a video and he was like, yo, the 5-year prediction that he has is you're going to really start, like, COVID has really woken people up. Like, your job can't dictate where you live.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to start seeing, or they can't dictate where you live or what you do. So you're going to start seeing people that, were working the lower income jobs. And they're going to start saying, yo, I'm going to just drive for Uber or Lyft and make $400 or $500, a week and call it a day. And I'm going to do whatever I want. And then there's going to be those that are educated, more higher paying jobs where they're going to be living in San Francisco and New York and things like that. And they're going to tell their bosses like, yo, you know what? I don't want to live here anymore. I'm moving to Kansas City, but I'm going to still work for you.
Yep.
And there's nothing you could do about it. And the job is going to be like, oh, no, you can't do that. And be like, yes, I can.
Yes, I can. Yeah. And then even some of these smaller jobs, bro, McDonald's is hiring $15 an hour. So even when you're looking at these other jobs, like, man,
minimum wage no more. You ain't hiring nobody for minimum wage anymore, especially in California. And also, I mean, like, so many people have moved out of California. I think they're on the verge, if they have not yet, to losing an electoral vote because they don't have that many people anymore. So yeah, it's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think last year like 80,000 or 83,000 people left California.
Dang.
So yeah, so
welcome to Texas. They all just come on.
That's what they did. Went to Texas, Arizona, Nevada.
Bro. Yeah, the homie, man, he was down in Oceanside, and him and his wife lived down there living good, enjoying it. And he was like, yo, I'm tired of this. Like, he's like, my little 2,000 square foot house is like $1.3 million. He's like, I'm about to sell this and move back to Dallas. And so him and the wife.
I'm gonna buy 5 houses, invest in properties.
Right.
Seriously, man.
Man, live in one. Yeah.
Right.
But I think, man, I don't even know if you said something though. You said it's the pay, man, but I don't even think it's just the pay. I don't think that's going to be the determining factor. I think if anything, people are realizing that they already knew it, but now they're seeing is that at the job they are dispensable, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
Expendable. There you go. Expendable. And they're not going to sit there and just take any job. My wife works in the hotel industry.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing is travel is back. Everybody's wide open, but housekeepers aren't coming back because they're like, yo, I'm not going to work this job for $10 an hour. And so they can't fill those jobs. And so I think you're going to start seeing that a lot of places, man. And there's the results of what's going to happen is going to be, it's going to be really interesting, man. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. I think I was on a call last night with Ian Dunlap, master investor. Like if you invest in stocks or anything, you need to follow him because he's got the crystal ball. He's giving you the blueprint at all times. But he was putting on us the game about this report that was written in like the 1960s. And it almost Nostradamus predicted exactly which years we were going to have recessions, which years we were going to have highs. It predicted 2021. 2021 that was going to drop. This was in 1960, and so they're saying the next drop is going to come in 2023. And so it's like, okay, what can happen in 2023? You got the year before an election, you got inflation, you got student loans, and then you got our income isn't increasing as a country, but our debt is just like vastly increasing.
Yeah, crazy, bro.
And they said like, yo, like that's not a that's only a problem if you don't care about the dollar anymore.
Yeah.
Well, now what do you got? You got Bitcoin, you got Ethereum, you got bruh. It's like
cryptocurrency.
this ain't even a podcast. Bro. This is talking, I'm just like,
yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
It's a rabbit hole. Yeah. What was we gonna talk about today? I know. No, this is how Jay Cee ended up on the podcast, man. One, we wanted to get you anyways because you're dope. You have an amazing story. I want to get to that in a little bit. But we were talking, we posted something, man, when we had Dr. Rob Singleton. Yeah, I was about to say Dr. Rob, but that just didn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
We had Dr. Rob. But we had him on here and he was talking about, fitness and blase and things like that. And then Jay Cee was like, you was in the comments and you were talking about how you had a health scare.
Yeah.
I guess, would you say you had a colonoscopy at 30?
Colonoscopy, man, at 30. Yeah.
Was that on your own choice or like?
I actually put it off for a long time, man. And then even though it's not in the fitness industry, they call it sign and symptoms, but it's not a 1 degree relative. My uncle actually passed from colon cancer. So when my body started acting funny and things started happening, I was like, okay, let me change my diet and see what's going on. That's first and foremost. And I'll talk about the diet later because, like I said, I had got hurt. So depression made my diet go out of, I mean, I ballooned up. But
you ballooned up to what? What you at right now? What were you doing?
I'm at 209 right now. I was at 236.
Wow.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. And I've never been that big.
I didn't know how else to say that.
No, it's real. And
it's true. Yeah.
And it took me going to the
in
park
the same boat with you, bro.
Yeah, it took me going to the park with my kids and being like, I can't do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's just where the mental health and understanding who you are and what you want to be and what you can become versus where you're at in life right now, you know? But yeah, my diet was all bad. So I was like, okay, let me change the diet around. So I changed the diet around a little bit. I was still having some complications. I went and I seen a colonoscopy. Oncologist, yeah. And they're like, yeah, we want to see you again. So go ahead.
Whoa.
Yeah, we want to see you.
Run it back.
Yeah. So they did their little initial test, and that was uncomfortable because I was awake. And
they didn't put you to sleep.
Not for the colonoscopy they did, but their initial test when they first look at you to see, what's going on, they just
back there.
Look at this big look at this big old Super Bowl ring.
Okay, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm not going.
Hey, and you know what? Because of that, I guess we want to call it toxic masculinity, where we're taking care of ourselves, but because we got a man's finger back there, you know, we're like, oh no, man, I'm too, you know, and that was me. Like, you know, that was me until one day vessels started coming out. And I was like, what is going on? Like, what is that? And so then I started replaying, like, you know, your uncle passed away, and you know, this is before I was
hold on real quick though, because this is important. Like, did you get the colonoscopy before or after you did the bid? Like when you was in jail?
This was after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was last month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I was recently in this. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
keep going. Keep going. You saw vessels coming out.
and you got a point, you know, with the bid. I have an extra amount of male masculine toxicity or whatever, because you know, I was like, I ain't let nobody run up in me, and you know what I mean, like, you gonna catch these hands, bro, you know what I mean, in the area, bro, you know what I'm saying, like, so for me, you know, it was definitely an ego thing. Let's just call it what it is, ego. And I don't even want to confuse ego with pride. Like, it was ego. Like, you're not doing it. But then as a father, you got to realize you're living for more than just you now. As a husband, especially, you know what I mean? You're living for more than just you now. I always tell people my wife comes first and then my kids come first, because my wife is who I'm building the foundation with. My kids are who I'm building it for. You know what I mean? So for me, my wife was like, I need you to go get checked. And that was it, where I was just like, all right, I'll go get checked. So I went and got checked. He stuck that big old Super Bowl ring in there. And he was like, yeah, I want to see you again. We're going to schedule a consultation, et cetera, et cetera.
Bruh.
Came out and said, you need to get a colonoscopy. You got some things going on that I can't see this way. So that's kind of when they schedule it. Like, we need to see what's going on. And so I did have a cancerous polyp, a precancerous polyp. I'm sorry, not cancerous, a precancerous polyp. I had 2 of them. And so they removed them. Now I got a clean bill of health. I'm good to go. Yeah, man.
Hold on, I gotta do the Terry.
But see, the thing I wanna make sure people understand is that I'm 30 years old. Oh my goodness. I'm 33 years old. I'm 33 years old. I'm 33 years old. I'm 33 years old. But you know, they say that there's a time, you know, in your 40s. Like, look, man, if you feel like something is wrong with you, listen to your body and don't take that risk, man. Like, go do it. Go do it, because you never know. You know what I mean? Like, with the pandemic, we didn't know the pandemic was going to hit. We didn't know all our lives are going to change. Your life can change from a decision or an indecision. You know what I mean? So if you feel, especially when it comes to your health, it absolutely facts. And, you know, if you feel like you are questioning something going on in your body, man, please go get checked. Please go get checked. That's my information. That's my information.
You had a colonoscopy?
No.
You know, you're 40.
I turned 40 this year. We're scheduling it. We're ready. Ready for this. Because like, and I've been hearing it all my life. Like, you know, African American males are, you know, the number one highest as far as colon cancer. So we have to get checked out. Jay Cee, I love what you said, like listen to your body. I don't think we oftentimes listen to our bodies. Even we, you know, we're always talking about health on here and Dads on Purpose podcast. We're always talking about how can we be healthy as dads, how can we be healthy as men. And that's one of the things that I also have been learning how to do is listen to my body. You know, one of the things that I've had when I started my my weight loss journey was listening to my body for water and not food. Does that make sense? So because we're always, your body starts confusing your water signal for food signal because you never give your body water. And so I think sometimes even if someone's like, how do I listen to my body? Like, like sometimes we have to reset. Like you have to really completely reset. So whatever your use or whatever your norm is of doing, kind of take an evaluation of how you feel now and start making adjustments, fellas. Like, bro, you know you're not supposed to be drinking all that soda water. You know you're not supposed to be drinking all that liquor. Like, seriously, we're just being honest.
I'm laughing because you sound really old saying soda water.
Soda water.
That pop.
That pop. That soda pop.
Reach in there and give me a cola.
That fizzy drink.
Right. But I think we do have to start slowing down. Like, bro, like one of the things I was thinking about today, this morning, me, my wife, and we got Kendall to go walking this morning. And one of the things that I like for me, what made me get back was, man, when I'm on the floor and it takes me a long time to get off the floor, my body hurts, my joints hurt. I'm listening to my body and my body's telling me to do some more work. Like you need to be moving. Like you can't be, you know, just sedentary. You need to move around so your body can feel better. So I really do think that as fathers, as dads, as men, your body is telling you something. And we so much ignore those symptoms. We so much ignore because we don't want to go to the doctor. So we need to start listening to our bodies and we need to start going to the doctor.
Bro, I don't think it's just not paying attention to it because we don't want to go to the doctor. I think it goes back to some of that. I don't know if it's ego. I don't know if it's pride, or I don't know if it's just, you know, not paying attention because you kind of say like your body tells you need water. Like my day, every day is like I wake up, I get the girls dressed, I take them to daycare. I get to the office at like 7:40 in the morning. I have a cup of coffee, black. I'm working, and then I have another cup of coffee, black. And then I won't have anything else to drink until I go home at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock a.m. because that's how my work day goes. So y'all don't be trying to get my hours. But like, so like from 7:30 to 11 in the afternoon, only thing I have in my body is 2 cups of coffee. And what I noticed is that like my body's like telling me like, yo, like you need something else. And the days that I do put water into my body, I usually stay at the office a lot longer because I don't get hungry as fast, and my attention span is more dialed in. So I think, man, like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's pride or just not paying attention just because we are who we are, or I mean that's probably a cop out and excuse, but I don't know. I don't know what it is.
We're not taught to. Like there's a lot of things that y'all know me. I work with students. That's my student development is my thing. We're not taught to care about our bodies or to really understand our bodies, right? We're taught to hold your pee, hold your poop, go to the restroom before you leave the house. You know what I mean? Like we're
don't go to the doctor until you're 40.
Who tells you that?
Right.
I mean, you better go to the restroom before you leave this house. Listen, you know what I mean? Because you're the parent, and so you're parenting and you're teaching, and you're telling your mom and dad it's dinner time. You're not hungry, right? You're telling them you're not hungry, but they're like, eat because this is dinner and it's time to eat. So I think a lot of it is, you know, also something that we can do as parents is helping our kids understand their signs, their signals, understanding their bodies, understanding signals of their bodies. Because I mean, y'all, come on, y'all. We just talked about this last week, but I got a 12-year-old going on 13. And my mindset is not just thinking about food, but also listening to the sexual, all of those things that are going on. Yeah, you looking like that, Josh. But
well, no, because we talk about food and water, and then you said listening to the sexual, and that's just not what I was expecting to come out of your mouth.
I'm sorry, but because I'm thinking about when we listen to our bodies. I think
I get it. It makes sense. Yeah. That's just not what I was prepared to come out your mouth. I was like,
but where's he going with this? Another situation is that we're not taught and we're not brought up to understand our bodies, but you also look at the media. The media tells us if you're 40 and over, they don't say, hey, if you listen to your body, please go and get checked. It's if you're at a certain age, go and do this. So then in our mind, and we've been listening to these old commercials since we were kids, you know what I mean? They throw it into our Cartoon Network or the Power Rangers or whatever we're listening to. Our parents, they know our parents are somewhere in the background, right? So you're looking at this and they're like, hey, this erectile dysfunction and your bladder, this, and at this age. And so when you're a kid and you're brought up, by the time you're that age, you're like, okay, now I need to go. Yeah. But now it's too late, essentially. Yeah. Now it's like, hey, the commercials and the media, the way that it's being fed to us, it needs to change. The language needs to change because they need to encourage, self-awareness. Like, if you got something going on with your body, that's what these people are getting paid millions and thousands and hundreds of dollars for, to help you figure out what is going on with your body. So if you want us to trust the science, we got to trust the facts at the same time.
Check this out, though. When we had Doc on, Dr. Rob, we even brought up the fact that the job of a doctor is to prescribe you something. So the media is probably telling you at 40, chances are you're probably going to have something, so go ahead and get checked out. They're not saying, yo, black man, we know that you have a history of this. This is what you need to watch out for. This is when you need to get checked. It's okay to get checked. And by the way, that Super Bowl ring don't make you less of a man that they shove in. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I say that in jest. I say that in jest, but that's the truth. This is just like, that's not taught to us. That's not instilled in us. That's we're taught to the only emotion we can show is anger. You know what I'm saying? We can't really care about ourselves. But I think our generation and the generation after us are really starting to switch that. And so it is becoming, quote unquote, okay for us to listen to our body and not listen to the things that we were brought up with in the media and telling us, wait until you're 40, wait until you're 50.
Yeah. And we have our own network. I mean, we have BET and we have, I
don't watch BET, man. All they play is Baby Boy.
I mean, see, I stopped watching.
I seeing Baby Boy.
Yeah, I stopped watching BET a long time ago when 106 in Park went on.
Right. Hey,
Freestyle Friday, basement, big ticket.
Big ticket. You know what I mean? BET start. I knew that watching BET. If Jamie Foxx was on by the time I was getting ready for school, I was in trouble. Like, I knew I was
like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
I'm late.
Yeah. And if the second episode for Jamie Foxx was on, then you know what?
You hit.
You getting tagged. You getting tagged.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we have those platforms now, and especially with social media. I just think that it needs to be emphasized a lot more than it is. Even though we are in a generation now where people are saying it's okay to listen to your body, and it's becoming more normal. It needs to be more normal than that. You know what I mean?
More normal than normal.
Continue. And as fathers, I believe it starts in the home. Like, I'll eventually tell my kids, like, look, I was 30 when I got my first colonoscopy. Maybe I didn't go again until I was 50 to get checked or whatever. You know what I mean? But I was 33. 33. My bad. 33. I was 33 when I got.
Bro, you've been saying 30 for the last.
Hey,
come on, man.
Man, it's that 30. It's once you hit 30, bro. You're not counting until you hit 35, and then once you hit 35, you ain't counting until you hit 40, bro. I understand. I'm there with you, Jay Cee.
Man, but look, the pandemic. See what happened was the pandemic happened, right?
Ah.
I just lost all track of time. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
your brain is fogged up. Your brain's fogged up.
I can't listen to nothing else once you say, see what happened was.
Hey, you know what? Blame Will Smith for that. Blame Will Smith. That's why And then, like, when he started doing that, like, my wife hates when I talk like that. She's like, oh, yeah, you are.
Yeah, if you had something you wanted to say, man, I saw it on your face, and I don't know if you remember what your thought was.
I kind of lost that thought, but I'm just I did. But the beautiful thing for me is that you said toxic masculinity. Like, we have to really, because I'm starting to see a trend in the episodes that we've done so far, and man, we have to break the toxic ideas that we have about masculinity, the ideas of what it means for us to be men, the ideas, just because even I'm thinking about just not only you having to think about that, but then also some other things we talked about before we started the podcast as far as masculinity. And so to me, that weighs a lot of pressure. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. I think that the idea of masculinity sometimes could be a heavy weight on us, trying to be a man that we're not trying to be ourselves. We're just trying to be the idea of a man that everybody else wants us to be. You know what I mean?
But that's again, we've been conditioned that way. It's the same thing as conditioning. You know, is
that just in our community though? Because we're gonna have a homie on from Canada, and I don't know whenever, but
don't it feel like it though? It feels like it though. Like I don't hear very many white. Like, I mean, you know, you look at all the dad pages, you know, and a lot of our black father pages talk about toxic masculinity and fatherless homes and this and changing the narrative. I see a lot of other race dad pages that are posting memes, and again, I got a lot of, you know, friends and that are fathers, but against their pages, it's just that
it's a different story. It's a different narrative.
We are shoving this narrative, you know what I mean? Like, because I mean, it's a true narrative, but we have to hyper focus on this because we're not starting on the meme pages. We're not starting where, you know, hey, you know, our kids are 67% fatherless. That's almost 70. That's almost 70%. What was it? 19.5 million kids fatherless, and 67% are black. Like, and that's 70%. You round it up. You know what I mean? Basic math, round it up. That's 70% fatherless for whatever reason, right?
And I think
we have a stronger narrative when it comes to fatherless homes that we need to address.
And I think it's not even just the narrative. I think the narrative has changed. I think the narrative can be different. I think what I've seen during the pandemic is that more of the men who are present, who are involved, who can break the chains of toxic masculinity have been stepping up into the space to own that space, to try to change that narrative. And I think that I think it's been so long we've been in this narrative, have been given this narrative and lived through this narrative, that now we have a new generation of men who are saying, hey, that was the narrative, but I am present. That was the narrative, but I am involved. That was the narrative. And we still have to do some work on the home front. Like, I think the most important thing out of the interview so far for me that stands out was your wife saying, hey, baby, go get checked out. You know, having that partner to support you. And so we've pulled the idea of having those partners, and we've been so much in this narrative of being separate and not built up together that, man, we have to continue to speak positivity as far as men, as far as black men, as far as black fatherhood. So I think that we need to continue to push that narrative away and keep showing up as we have been doing that, and not taking that. We can't just say it. We got to actually change it. So when we do go, you know, those thoughts aren't like when you walk into the doctor's office, the first thing you're thinking about is, man, he gonna try to touch me. You know what I mean?
Right. But no, I know, man.
The Super Bowl ring.
I think, bro, we can't even, like, I don't even think we need to address it. Like, that sounds bad, but it's just like, why even talk about, when I think about the fatherhood pages of us that are like booming, they don't even really talk. So you think about Terry. Terry just hit 10,000 followers, and all Terry do is shimmy with his kids and talk about his weight loss journey. You got another dad out there. I can't remember his name, but he's a motivational speaker. His son has Down syndrome, and he had cancer as well.
Kenny Clutch.
Kenny. Kenny Clutch. And so Kenny, All Kenny do is dance with his kid, like all day long, and we don't. It's like us bringing up the narrative, and it. Bro, I heard the same thing last night on. I was listening to Market Mondays, Earn Your Leisure, on Monday nights, and they had some drama and whatever, and so long story short, they were talking about like, yo, like it's not the other communities, the other men that are bringing us down. It's us talking about each other, and I'm like, yo, like. Us as fathers, as Black fathers, we're the ones that keep pushing this narrative. Like you look about it in the media, like it's really not there.
Yeah,
it's us pushing it, like saying, like, "Yo, y'all keep talking about it," and I'm just like, "Yo, are we doing it wrong?"
Yeah. It's like we keep saying, "Change the narrative." Okay, change the narrative. Change the narrative. When is the narrative changed? Where we can say, "Continue the narrative," or you know what I mean? When do we start? It's like a wife and a husband just bringing up O's. Bring the O's. Like Smokey, I gotta bring up O's. You know what I mean? Like it's just like okay, we've been down this road before. So now that we've put action into place, now that we've continued to say change the narrative, it was great to bring the awareness. But now that the awareness is here, you go on, you Google fatherhood, or not Google, but you go on Instagram and put in hashtag fatherhood. Yeah, I guarantee you 10 black dad pages are gonna pop up, right?
Well, good pages.
Yeah. And so
not on the high ones though, not on the all-time ones. So we got to get up there.
Yeah, but we on the recent. We moving up there though. I mean, at least it started. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you put that in, you're gonna see pages. But a lot of them talking about narrative this, narrative that. Like, okay. Yeah. If you're changing the narrative and you're saying that you are now the new narrative, why are we changing the narrative? Like I am the narrative. Like you know what I mean? Like when are we gonna start saying that I'm the narrative and be
that's good
an example?
That's good.
That's am the narrative right there.
Put that on a shirt.
So low key, before you even said that, I was thinking about that in my head. Like, yo, it should be like I am the narrative. Yeah. Like no cap, but like that's what I was thinking about. And then you said it, and I'm just like,
confirmation.
I don't know. I don't know. But I
love it. And we gotta be the narrative. We have to stop allowing people to tell our story, and we have to interject and change the story. But we got to, because it goes back to knowing ourselves. If we don't change the narrative and tell our story, then how will we be able to know? That was the next thing that popped in my mind. It's like, okay, we talked about, having to go to the doctor. We talked about, having to know ourselves and who we are and changing our narratives or living in our narratives. But even just knowing the history, like, I think our narrative will change the more we understand the history of why our narrative is the way it is, if that makes sense.
We don't have that much time.
We don't have that much time. No. But to me, even the basic understanding of how we got to this point, does that make sense? And really knowing our history of how we got to this point, but also relating back to my boy Jay Cee and knowing like, hey, my uncle had cancer. My uncle, like, it's hard for me to know my narrative if I don't know my history. It's hard for me, or even we're talking about the fatherless sons and the fatherless daughters. They're creating a narrative that we don't have to recreate the wheel. Yep. So we got to be able to.
I mean, that travels into like generational curses and things. And you know what, that word, I used to love that word. I used to love that saying because it meant so much, but it's been oversaturated. Like people don't even understand the narrative of where generational curses come. And that's only for me. Like I said, I identify Christian. So for me, it comes from when God says, this is going to carry you from generation to generation. That's when the first generational curse, in my opinion, happened. It's like, oh, you did this? Okay, they're going to pay for it for this generation and this generation and this generation. And then that just came to fruition. Generation after generation.
That's what they did, man. People make buzzwords. Like, they make it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool hashtag. You know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, that's what we become, is a generation of hashtags. If I can make the boldest statement with a hashtag, then I become your explore page. And I'm on your explore page. You're gonna find me, and I'm gonna come up with the dumbest hashtag.
Podcast called hashtag Dad Swag.
So it wasn't supposed to be hashtag. That is the hashtag for real. But the way it came up with is I did try to make it a hashtag, but I'm not computer literate. So when I put in my website and I said I wanted to make it www.dadswag, they said, oh, you can't use a symbol. So I was like, okay, well, how can I make this stick? And so I just used the word hashtag dad swag. So yeah, but yeah, and I'm not saying that I'm innocent of it. Like I'm guilty of it. You know? And that comes with marketing and branding and understanding, you know, the times that we live in. But I'm not doing it for monetary gain. I'm not trying to exploit my kids, or I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not doing that. For me, this was my journey. You know, my kids are a part of my journey, but this was me saying, I'm not the best father that I can be. I'm not the best husband that I can be. And I have more questions than I have answers. So if you listen to my podcast, I'm giving facts. I'm giving, you know, information. I'm giving stats because I think that's important. We can't change the narrative unless we understand the narrative. That's what I say all the time. Yeah. Iron sharpens iron, right? That is my creed. that is what I live by. One day you're the sword and I'm the spinning wheel. The next day, vice versa. I need you just like you need me. But it's what I take from you that builds me. You know what I mean? So if you can add value to me and I can add value to you, then iron sharpens iron. And at this point, that's the narrative we have to really feed into, because there's so much of, you know, this page versus this page and this and this and this. Even and it's funny because I see a lot of pages that are like lightweight passive aggressive towards each other. You know what I mean?
But I think the beautiful thing in 2021 is now we're getting the representation. We didn't have the representation. Now we have the opportunity to have the representation of good fathers, good Black fathers, good strong Black men. And I think it's only going to get better from here. Like really, it should only get better from here. And
but as long as it's done with the right heart, though, you know what I'm saying? Like you see a lot of these pages, you know, becoming monetized and you know they're marketing and they're blowing up. Like one of my Rob for one, but I love the Tilleries. Like So look, him and I had a deep conversation, you know, and we kind of have similar history. I won't put his information out there, but
he already did. He was on the show.
That's all right. We already had him on the show.
Okay, so you know his background and where he came from, and look at what he's become now. That is power to me. That is beautiful. And now he's continuing to change lives. His kids are monetized. People see that and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do that. I got cute kids. I got this. I can do this." But you trying to make money off your kids.
Smile, baby.
Yeah. Come on, let's take a picture. I don't want to take.
I don't like that one. I don't like that one. You ain't do this right. Like his family look genuinely happy.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can tell that the smile is a forced smile. You know, his family, his wife, his kids, like
genuinely.
Yeah, like they are genuinely in love with this man. That means, you know, that means he's doing the right things as a man. And I always reach out to him because I got immense respect and love for him. Along with other fathers too that I have.
Don't get in trouble. we got like 15 listeners. Don't get in trouble.
Hey, you know what? Like when I see a page, I'm immediately supporting because I want to support you. I don't want to get on your show just to get on your show. Like I didn't ask to be here. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be a part of what you had going on. You know, I didn't comment on your page because I want you to notice me. Like, no, I am invested in what you're saying right now, especially because you had Rob on. That was now that's our 8 degrees of separation. Yeah. Right? Where now, okay, I rock with Rob, you guys rock with Rob. I'm gonna listen to what he's saying. All these guys are dope. I love what they're saying. Now I go through the pages, like. You know what I mean? And then it's a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more than a like; it's engagement.
Yeah.
I'd rather you leave a comment and then you and I have a conversation, you know, in the chat or exchange numbers or whatever, rather than have 1,000 comments that mean nothing to me. Right. I don't care about the hearts. You know what I mean? I want to know. I want to know about that heart.
Let's engage.
You know what I mean? I want to know about that heart. You know what I mean? And that's what iron really sharpens the iron. It doesn't sharpen the iron in the comment. And I tell everybody all the time, reach out to me. Like, reach out to me. You want to reach out to me? I'm always going to answer back. Like, it doesn't. Yeah. There's nobody manning my page. You know what I mean? There's no.
I don't answer everything. Some people be jumping stupid, and I got time for that.
I'm gonna answer it. Like, no, thank you.
I know you've been trying to say something for a minute.
Yeah, but
Jay Cee don't know, but Kev got a look when he be trying to say something. He been trying to say something for a minute. Kev be like, when Kev starts saying like 4 times in a row, that's when he like, okay, I'm ready. Yeah,
I want to get in.
Yeah.
Like I
think that's dope, bro. Man. That's just how it goes. That's just how I know. I'm like, oh, Kev got something to say. Let me
go ahead, bro.
Nah, man, but I think it's all good, man. Just changing the narrative, changing the idea of how we see ourselves as dads, making sure that we're knowing who we are individually, knowing who we are spiritually, knowing our history, and even if you don't know your dad's history, knowing your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, just knowing something about yourself, but not. I think we went from just knowing about medical to like even just changing the narrative as who we are as dads, who we are as Black males, and what we have to offer. I think, and I think that's the most beautiful thing that I've noticed over the year, over this pandemic, is that we have so much more to offer and we have so much more to give. And there's so many dads out there. I know you guys are listening. All the dads, you want to get in, you want to be better, you want to do better for your family and for your kids. And now is the time to really make connections. Now is the time to make better relationships with your family, make better relationships, man. And I'm saying this, and I'm almost preaching to myself right now, because I was telling Josh, 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, I hadn't really been on social media a whole lot, but I've been intentionally spending time with my wife. I've been intentionally spending time with my daughter, because I can make a relationship with everybody on social media, but that doesn't matter if I'm not making the right relationships with my family. That doesn't matter if my kid is not happy with me or not satisfied with her life. It doesn't matter if my wife ain't happy. You know what I mean? Yep. And so making those meaningful relationships, and I think when we make those meaningful relationships within our family, and we starting to see man, she's supporting him to be healthy, or he's supporting her to be healthy. We just had this same conversation in our house. I was talking to my wife yesterday, and I was just like, look, I'm turning 40. You're 2 years behind me. We can no longer be like, we're not going to work out. We can no longer be like, we're not going to our doctor's appointments. Like, I have to support her and push her, and she's supporting and pushing me on the same aspect, because somebody got to be around when Kendall gets married. Somebody got to be around when she has.
But you gotta cook good food, man. You out here cooking nasty bell peppers with meat in it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, come on. Hey, but that's me trying to be healthier and be better, bro. Because we could go out to eat, but we know going out to eat is worse than trying to cook at home.
Not true. It just depends. But I feel you on that one. Yo, we got to get out of here, man. My daughter's in there making noise, so that means I need to take her to the park. That's why I keep looking over there. I'm like, yo, they at the back door, and I'm like, what y'all doing? But
let's go, Daddy. Let's go.
Right? Let's shut it down. Anyway, Jay Cee, man, you got final thoughts out there for the dads, man. That are you said something earlier about struggling with our identity and things like that. But this was before the podcast came on, where we were talking about how you struggle with your identity before you did a bid, and then you weren't working, and then your son was born with Down syndrome. So you just had a lot of struggles and things like that. But I'm just asking for a word of encouragement for the church today. What do you have for the brothers out there and the sisters?
I think it's same thing that I've been echoing for a while now, and it's just be intentional. I think right now we need to be more intentional with everything more than ever, with everything going on in the times, whether it be, your health, your child's wellness, your wife's wellness. If you're going to date your wife intentionally. If you're going to be a father intentionally. When I found out my son had cancer, I was locked up. Right. So I had to figure out how to be a father, even though I wasn't physically a father. I wasn't a present father.
Yeah.
But I knew that when I got home, I was intentionally going to be there every single day that he woke up and never miss another day of his life. That's out. I'm not doing that anymore. So now everything that I do in my fatherhood journey, including my marriage comes with my fatherhood journey. It's intentional. And so, wake up every day and decide on intentionality. Like, just make sure that, hey, yesterday I didn't take them to the park like I said I was going to take them to, or, we didn't. So I'm going to make sure, get them fed, whatever your routine in the day is, and we going to the park. We're going to invest in that time. Make sure that you're investing intentionally.
KB, what you got, man? What you writing over there?
Bro, man, so you talk about me always not being on point with my notes, and I'm just
I've never said anything with your notes.
I mean, with my conversation, I'll be drifting off. So if I write,
yeah, he did get at us about that. Did
he get us? Listen here to my Dad on Purpose podcast listeners. Listen, before we got on here, he said, when y'all get on here, I gotta stay on the straight lane. Y'all be getting on here and be going left, be going right. So I got to get some paper.
That's not what I said.
Jay Cee,
I said,
paraphrasing, but yes,
I said. No. Because don't be coming. Don't come. If you coming for me, come. I said, finish your thought. That's what I said. I said, finish your thought. So don't come. I understand.
No, but I do better when I write notes, and I do better. So I've been trying to take that into play when we do these things. But my brother Jay Cee is right in my vein about intentionality. Be intentional. If you're being intentional about fatherhood, that means you're being intentional about your health. That means you're being intentional about your finances. That means you're being intentional about all of those things. It's not just about fatherhood. Fatherhood is just a small piece of that pie. You still have a whole man that you are, and then you still have a whole spouse or a whole co-parent that you're dealing with. So definitely be intentional with yourselves and with your kids and with your spouse. And come holla at us. First Sundays, baby. If you need somewhere to be, you need some help, some support. Listen, First Sundays, we're always there for you guys. So make sure you go check us out and get connected. But always be intentional about what you're doing.
I like what you said, Kev, because you said something about like, if you're intentional about fatherhood, that's going to translate in so many other things, man. And one of my devotionals the other day, I don't know the scripture. Kev, you probably gonna know it, Mr. Pastor, and I don't even know how the whole scripture talks about, but it's talking about, hiding the Lord's word in your heart. And that's just not what that means. Is that God's word affects everything that you do. It affects your thoughts. It affects the way you treat people. It affects everything. And so it's kind of the same thing, not the same thing, but you get what I'm saying with fatherhood. Like, if you're being intentional about fatherhood, like, bro, that is going to go here. That's going here. And that's going here, man. And I think that's what we all need to get, man, just to be intentional about fatherhood. And y'all also need to be intentional about running up these likes and comments and views on the podcast, because you know what I'm saying, we ain't there yet, but we're gonna get there, and that's okay. So everybody out there in YouTube land, podcast land, man, run it up, share this podcast with 3 people. 1, 2, 3. Take care, be blessed. We'll see y'all next week. We love you. Peace.